Hello, welcome back to another episode of Tales of the Lich. This is the Freeman series, episode 4. As usual, we have our three players. Why don't we start with Ariel, Lady Knight? Who are you playing today?
I am playing a Warforged variant, referred to as a Bioforged, and I'm a monk.
Fantastic. And then James, the Tauren one.
Today I am playing Seality. I am continuing my rampage, my onslaught of stupidity, if you will. He is a half-elf bard who is chaotic bisexual. So that's probably the most elegant way to put it.
And the most
Yeah,
important
he's chaotic
feature,
stupid.
chaotic stupid. And then lastly, we have Justin, or I don't know what else you like to be called, so please.
Just Justin is fine. I'm playing Fizzlewit Spellbottom, the Gnome Artificer.
Fantastic. So, last time we were joined by you guys, you had a little bit of a run in. You've been assigned this rabbit folk mage named Henry. You've been told in no uncertain terms that his safety is completely up to you. He has a deal with the captain, and you're supposed to pretty much babysit him, take him where he needs to go, and show him what it is that he needs to see. There's been a couple of words and a few misunderstandings, that's put in air quotes, but you can't see right now, between Sir Day and the captain. A few privileges may or may not be getting revoked upon your
No,
arrival.
no. We're best friends.
Here in the Ground Shaker. But you told them you'll gladly talk about when you get back. I believe you said all they need to do is sing your name and you would appear. And with that, you guys got on a small ground shaker and you've absconded, you've left, you've moved on with Henry, heading towards this town. You've been told it's High Meadows. I'm
Honestly,
unsure if you guys quite reached the town, so why don't we set the scene here with it just stopping short of this town, a couple of maybe a mile or two out behind a nice grassy hill. The desert's kind of given away here to the grass, and you have this very wild, overgrown looks here along the dunes. Henry unbuckles himself, and he kind of stands up and he stretches a little bit, and he goes, "Okay, well, I've never really been to this town, but I'm sure you guys would fit in just." And he just kind of turns over to you. What was the disguise you're wearing again? Do you recall?
I actually drew it up, remember?
Well, if you want to show a picture of it, that would be very helpful.
Yes. So I acquired some clothing, heavy gloves, boots, a tunic, and a mechanical eye with an eye patch.
Okay, yeah, so you actually fit in quite nicely.
Yep, I've managed to cover everything with clothing, leather clothing specifically for the most part, except for the cotton high-collared tunic that hides the wiring holding my head up.
Your head in place. All right, so Henry's eyes kind of falls over you, and he just kind of gives you a quick little look over, and then he gives you a nice little nod. He goes, "Yes, actually, I think you guys will all fit in quite nicely. What would you like to do in this town? I just have a very quick little meeting, a little thing I need to pick up, and I shouldn't be more than an hour or so. You're welcome to join me if you want, but if not, you can, maybe a low profile here would be good, but it's nothing really too pressing."
you know how long you'll be.
Like I said, I should be no more than about an hour or so.
Yes, but how am I supposed to thoroughly enjoy myself if I'm held at a rough time period?
Would you like 2 hours then, and maybe you could have more time? Are you hoping for less time? What exactly would make you more comfortable here, Sealaday?
Let's make it an hour firm. I don't care if you have to leave. I don't care if you have to set the place ablaze. I like a definitive time period.
I mean, I don't think I'll be setting anything ablaze, but I think I can probably stick to that time schedule.
Beautiful, wonderful. Then I'll be off. And Heliday will just spin on his heels and just start walking past you.
Okay, so are you exiting the ground shaker then, or?
Yes.
Okay. And Henry just kind of like looks at Fizzle and and he's just kind of like seeing if you guys have anything you want to add to this.
Yeah, should we bother concealing the ground shaker, or you think it'll be just fine where as is?
I doubt most people could figure out how to use it.
That's a good point.
They aren't exactly the most intuitive of machines,
Well,
especially when you don't know machine speech.
Lock the door on our way out?
I think that should do it. I mean, we've parked a little bit of ways, so I'm hoping maybe the distance would conceal it, and I don't think there's much hunting in this direction, so we might be lucky. But if you really want, I could probably manage a spell or two, an illusion, or maybe an alarm spell of some sort, if you really want.
No, I think this should be enough. And I'm going to go over to the control panel and essentially disengage the ignition. Whatever turns it on, I want to disable that switch, and take a piece of that mechanism out if possible.
Take out the distributor cap?
Roll a intelligence check, and if you're proficient with land vehicles, you can add that.
I am proficient.
Delete system 32.
Just completely fry the machine.
So I'm rolling intelligence plus, like, my proficiency with this, essentially.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
That's 17, 18, 19, 20. Dirty 20.
It's a 1.
Yeah, oddly enough, you're aware that Freeman usually don't trust other Freemen, so
Mm-hmm.
you basically take what's essentially a spark plug and tuck it into your bag.
Yeah.
Well, with that dealt with,
I'd actually like to, if possible, stuff it, like, in the front of my shirt.
yeah,
That way it's like, close to me, and it's very difficult for anybody to pickpocket me.
okay. So, do you have like a breast pocket there, or you just like?
Well, I have, like, the breastplate over top of my tunic, so, like, between the, like, that, you know?
Okay, I mean, it's not the most comfortable thing. It's a hunk of metal, but you happen to have some metal plates in there as well, so it's probably not too big of a issue for you.
Yeah.
Given your physicality. With that, Henry just kind of looks towards you guys, goes, well, I guess we better catch up to Seal Day then, before he gets too far ahead. And he heads towards the ramp.
We're into too much trouble.
And are you two sticking with me, or is anyone going to try to keep an eye on Seal Day? I used to think he was pretty level-headed, but I've come to a changing of opinions here recently. Maybe you could stick with him, and me and Fizzle could head to my meeting.
Actually, I think we should
I'll
both.
just glance at you and see if, like, if you're okay with that.
If you want to, yeah, I'm fine with it. But orders were to keep Henry here as safe as we can, so that's what I'm gonna try to do.
Perhaps we'll also need to keep him safe from whatever trouble Sealaday gets into as well.
That's a good point.
I'll keep an eye on him.
Well, if that's everything settled then I think this is going to work quite well then. And with that, he like continues his way off of the ramp and kicks up a little bit of sand as he goes. You know, he's has a bit of an awkward walk. You know, it's somewhere between like a spring and somewhere between a step.
He has an awkward gait. Got it.
Yep, very awkward gait.
Just a little bit of a hop to him.
Alright, so Day, you've left a little bit ahead of the group. Are you kind of waiting for them, or are you just continuing your pace? Like,
Uh, I probably would just continue my pace. I'm fairly confident in my ability to interact with different situations.
okay,
So I'd probably go looking for a tavern of some sort, basically a way to entertain myself or to make extra gold inside.
okay. Uh, do me a favor and let's just get a perception check as you're the first one showing up here. Or it could be an insight check if you're trying to like get a read for like what's going on in this city. It's up to you.
Um, I think an insight check makes sense. Kind of get a feeling for the town. If it's like a minor town, you're probably not going to get as much action.
Yeah.
That's an 11 plus 2. I don't have insight. So 13.
13. Alright. So you arrive in this town ahead of your companions. It's a decent sized town. It has not really a wall, but they have like a little archway leading in, as well as what seems to be a simple like stone barricade that's probably about 5 feet tall. Enough that, there's a little bit of cover from the desert, but you can like look around the side and you see it doesn't contain the entire town. It's just like a very rudimentary defense against Freeman more
Okay.
than anything else. You approach, and there's quite a few guards here. I mean, it doesn't look like an overly big town, but you spot what seems to be a couple of guards, and they're having a little bit of a conversation as you approach. And they just kind of like stiffen up, and one of them starts to move towards you. He seems to be a tabaxi. He has a white face. He has like a couple of leopard spots you can see, and he's wearing leather armor, and he has what seems to be a hand axe on one side, and he has a small little tablet that distinguishes him as a guard. It's blue, and it just has like a shield on it, and he just kind of
Okay.
calls towards you, and he goes, "Are you Freeman? Freeman? Where are you coming from?"
As I was approaching, when the guards were talking, did they seem like it was uh like they were almost off duty, like they were very relaxed and just kind of like joking around when they should be on guard? Or were they fairly stiff as if they were on guard for something?
We'll use the insight check that you just rolled,
Okay.
as it would probably pertain towards this. With that, they seemed like they were a little worried, like they were kind of glancing around, like they weren't relaxed, but it seems like
Mhm.
they were just trying to pass the time as best as they can. They're not on high alert, but they're not at ease.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. I've come quite a way. I'm a little weary. I'm from Clear Beach.
Clear beach that way, and he gestures towards the north. Out for a walk in the desert, are ya? Long way from home?
Is it illegal?
It's just weird. You claim to be from one place in the opposite direction.
I didn't say where I was coming from. You asked me where I am from.
By the way, you guys are coming up towards this. I'll let you know when you're able to join in, unless you kind of want to pick up the pace. Or you're just going to continue your leisurely pace towards this. You see Day, and it looks like he's talking with a tabaxi, and there's another guard back at the gates you can make out.
You can handle it.
Alright,
To me, it sounds like a Sailor Day problem.
okay, so you guys just continue to walk up, and the guard continues, and he goes, "So you dodging the question then? What are you doing in the desert? I'll speak plainly if you'll guard your tongue in such a way."
I've come into town because I'm looking to kill some time.
No, 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 no,
Visiting.
no. I said, what are you doing walking in the desert? Let's stick on track here, buddy.
Is it illegal? How else does one get around? I don't have a fancy mount. Is it illegal to walk around your fence?
So you mean to tell me you came from Clear Beach, you took a big loop out here into the desert just to come into this gate? Is that what I'm getting?
You
Thank
see,
God Excel has stopped working.
I'm a little weary and I decided to stop in on a town. Is that illegal? Am I not allowed to spend my hard-earned gold here? I could take my gold elsewhere if you'd like.
I'm just trying to see if you're Freeman, if you're Ithwal. It's a little weird. That's all I'm saying. At this point, the rest of the group gets up here. Um, Ariel, do me a favor. Roll a stealth check. If are you proficient in a disguise kit?
Um, I am not proficient in disguise, but I can attempt to roll stealth.
Alright, it can be that, or if you were proficient
As,
in that kit, you would roll with that. I'm just trying to see how convincing it is versus this guard's ability to discern.
because I'm proficient with disguise kit and they took things out of my like my personal disguise kit stuff, I think I probably would have helped them if possible. Is it possible that they use my proficiency bonus, or at least don't get penalized for
23.
theirs?
It doesn't sound like they need it. Otherwise, I would have accepted that argument. So he just kind of like glances over you, and then um, he just kind of like looks away quickly, right? And he sees Henry with you guys, and he like looks towards Henry, and Henry just kind of like gives him this little nod, and then he looks back towards you, Celia, and he goes, "You see that? That's what most of us look like in this town. You, you're not an animal folk. I'm starting to have a little suspicion here. Why don't you tell me something about Clear Beach? What's it like?" And you guys are like able to continue past as Henry just kind of like gives them like this little nod.
Have you been to Clear Beach?
So are you changing the questions again? Or are you going to answer the
Well,
questions?
I'd like to answer the question, but of course, if you haven't been to Clear Beach, I could tell you anything. If you'd like, I could tell you something interesting.
Convince me. Tell me, who's the main family?
The Valbrun family, please.
Well, roll persuasion with advantage.
That was a 1. I will take an 18.
Wow.
And then, yeah, I rolled a 1. It slid on my keyboard, and I'm like, no.
Alright.
And then persuasion, I have expertise, so that is +6, so 24.
Okay, so with that, he just kind of like, you can tell he looks a little stunned at the fact that you knew the answer so quickly, and he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna let you in. Weird things happened here a night or two ago, so you know I'll be keeping my eyes on you." And with that, he just kind of
Yeah,
like takes a step off to the side of the road.
as he takes a step, I'll be like, well, I've come into town to make a little gold if I can. Play a show at the tavern. I am a little parched. I could go for a drink. Would you be able to show me the direction?
"I can do that. You still know where you're gonna be at." And he like gestures up towards the road and goes, "Just up there to the grazing meadows." Blacksmith is
Wonderful.
closed though if you're looking for shopping.
I'll reach into my pocket and I'll just I'll flip him a gold.
Looks a little stunned at this as well, and he quickly pockets it and he allows you past, and he regroups with his companion, and it seems like they're picking up the conversation with where it left off. Um, are you heading towards the tavern then, or what's Celaday's first stop?
Yeah, I'm gonna head to the tavern. I'd like to, like I did on board the big vessel. I would like to kind of gauge the energy in the tavern, kind of see what everyone's like.
Okay. For this time, it will be a perception check. So I'll let you
I'd
roll
like
that.
to.
Hold that number in a second. Let me just check with these other guys where they're going.
I want to like wait at the gate once we get inside, but Celestate to show up and then just fall into step behind him.
Okay. Do you
Since
want to
I'm like,
say anything to take as they just kind of like they seem to
materialize.
entourage you?
I'm just gonna shrug at them and it's like, why do they hassle me? Is it because I'm beautiful? And I'm just gonna keep walking.
Right.
I
And
think they could smell the bullshit.
There's no bullshit. I was in the desert and I walked around the fence. Also, I'm just looking for.
right, fair enough. So then, Fizzle, are you just accompanying? Is there anything you want to try to do in this town before Henry kind of leads you off in whatever direction he chooses?
Henry's business before anything.
Okay, so you guys kind of continue up this main avenue, you and Henry in the front, and it leads up to the grazing meadows. But before you get there, um, Henry just kind of like takes you off to a side route, a left turn, if you will. Um, who here has a perception of about? I think you guys all have a decent perception. Let me just check this out here. Passive perceptions. Yeah, all of you notice it. So as you are going, you can see what seems to be a burnt building off to the side, and there's another 3 guards there, and they're like just trying to like kind of take this building apart. It's a simple wooden fence on the outside, and it looks like there's a yard in the back, and it looks like it used to be a blacksmith, but it looks like it just started to burn down at some point, and there's just these burnt timbers. Uh, James, with your high perception, you see what seems to be some sort of weird creature, some burnt husk of something. It has these weird limbs, and it looks like it's like straddling this counter inside. And there's a guard in there with one of his axes, and he's like chopping up the pieces, and he's like throwing it off to the side, trying to deal with whatever happened here.
Okay. What does the creature look like?
Uh, roll a. It could be a history or survival if you want, or do you just want a general description?
I will take. I guess survival? I keep looking down at my other character sheet and I'm like, why are my stats different? Because I haven't written them down yet. They're still on my phone. Expert player. 8 character sheets in front of me.
Professional.
That's a 7 plus 2?
Okay.
So 9?
I mean,
I have no no idea.
it looks burnt. It looks big. It looks elongated, stretched, like these weird proportions. You can also see like there's definitely some. It's odd where the limbs have been chopped off. You don't see any bones or anything inside. You watch as this guy like takes his axe and he hacks to a limb and he throws it off to the side, and you would expect to see some sort of structure inside, but instead it just seems to be some sort of muscle. You would imagine. It's hard to tell with like all of the burn on it, and it looks like it was almost burnt all the way through, as if it was quite susceptible to the fire.
So kind of like a bug's exoskeleton?
Something like that. It's one way to describe it if you choose.
Can I make out any parts of it that look like, if the neck looked like it would be like a giraffe neck, like could I identify any
Do
parts
you
that
want
look
to
like
stop
other?
and take a closer look at this thing?
Yeah, I mean I have time to kill. I'm just walking through town.
All right. You're here as well, so if you have any questions, feel free to jump in. Are you going to go up to the guards, or what's your approach here? There's
No, I just
a
want to stand back
front
and
door that you're looking through now, but it looks like there's also a window off to the right side if you're facing towards the front of the building. And
I
you,
would like to try and like sneak around and see if I can get closer, coming in the back way or something.
Okay, roll
I'll
a
go to the
stealth check
window.
for me. If you're being stealthy, and you're just going there, so you can just roll a flat perception check.
Ooh. Okay. That is a 25 because it's 19 plus 6.
Okay,
Trying to sneak up there.
and are you trying to get close to the building? Are you trying to get inside the building, or what's the,
I'm gonna get close, get a look, see if maybe I want to peek in there a little more.
Okay, and what did you get for your perception, Ciolidae?
A 26.
26. Well, both you rolled quite high. High enough that you can even still see as they move close to this building. As I said, there's a front door, and then there's this side window that you guys are going towards. There's a small wooden fence that goes around the outside of this building, and you see as they move into this backyard. There's a cellar door here if you wanted to go down and take a look in there. It's up to you, and I'll get back to you in just a second. Ciolidae, you're looking through here, and you can see that the window is broken open, and you can also see what seems to be scorch marks, as well as you can see that there's glass inside of the building, as if something was firing into this building as well. From
Okay,
here,
that was my question.
you can see what's, and it's weird because the front of this creature is all elongated and sinewy, and like I said, you don't see any bones from where these limbs have been chopped off, but you see stubby legs on the other side of the counter. Looks like it could have been a dwarf at some point.
But the body, so it looks like dwarven legs, and then it stems into the
Yep.
to the monstrosity.
Yeah, and like I said, it's straddling over this counter as if it was fighting someone. And you can also make out what seems to be very deep gashes, as if this thing was fighting someone with a spear or a glaive.
Trying to keep their distance makes sense.
Are you just hanging out by the window, or what do you want to do?
Mm. He's going for like the front of the building. I'm gonna try
He's
the back.
gone.
And,
He's gone around to the side and he's looking into the window. You've made your way
yeah,
into
open
this
the
yard.
cellar then.
You want to go into the cellar? All right. So you make your way down, and there seems to be like a. It's a storeroom. There are several crates stacked off to the side here and there. There's some of them are open, and you can see what seems to be metal ingots and various tools, as well as there's a workshop table at the far back, and what seems to be a single. It's not an oven. It's not a kiln. It's a forge, and it looks like the chimney here attaches to the building above. The top of this would be used as a storefront, and down here is where you assume the proprietor of the shop would have been doing most of his work.
Okay. I'm gonna poke a little. I'm gonna poke around a little more further back.
All right,
Is there anything particularly valuable?
I'll
and
roll an
small?
investigation check.
That is a 5.
A 5?
You
It's
found a forge.
yeah. I mean, there's like I said, there seems to be several crates with some iron in it, but you don't really notice anything overly valuable except for the raw materials around you.
I'm gonna grab a couple of like iron ingots off the top and stuff them in my bag of holding.
Okay, you can grab anywhere from 1 to, let's say, 10 if you're just skimming from the top here.
Yeah, up to 10 skimming from the top.
Said it's a crate full of them. You can grab, if you wanted, you could take the whole crate, but I mean,
That somebody might notice that.
yeah, might get a little difficult trying to get a crate out. But it is an option if you so choose.
Run fast.
I'm gonna take 8 of them. I feel like this could be very useful for me and the artificer later.
All right, so you stuff those into your bag or whatever you brought
Bag of
with
holding.
you. Your bag of holding. So that's, nice and easy for you as you just kind of like start shuffling these in. And then are you looking around more? Are you getting out of here? What's the plan?
I'm gonna poke around a little bit more.
Okay, and what Please tell me a bit more about how you're looking around or what you're looking for.
I'm just trying to see, like, is there maybe like some sort of notebook down here? Is there any idea of like what, like, did somebody come after the blacksmith because he owed somebody money?
So you
Was he in a cult? Did he summon something, and that's what's upstairs? Like,
okay? So you're looking out for that. And Day, you look into this. You make out the feet of a dwarf and whatever sort of battle seemed to have happened here. What's the next step?
I'm trying to. What does the person who's chopping up the body? What does he look like? He does. Is it like some poor butcher who's kind of lumped into the job?
It seems to be another guard based on the same blue tabard with the shield on it, but he's just using
Okay.
the hand axe. That seems to be standard issue in this town. He's not enjoying his work. You can tell that. He's kind of gagging every now and again, and between the sounds of him chopping down and he's using the count as a chalking block, and the sounds of him gagging every now and again and swearing under his breath, it's the most common sounds. And besides that, there's also a couple of guards at the street, but they're not really paying you any mind. You get the idea. Quite a few people have been like interested in what happened here, but now it's been a day or two. They're finally getting the chance to clean it up after whatever it is they were doing has come to an end, and people have lost interest.
Okay. I'm gonna use detect thoughts on him. I want to, because they know when you try and probe deeper.
Yeah.
But if he looks in my direction, I want to sneak away from the window, just like hide with my back to the wall, basically.
So, do you want to probe deeper then, or do you just want the surface thoughts?
I want to see what's on the surface, and then depending on what's on the surface, I'll probe deeper. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That.
I want to know what I can figure out, if the guard knows anything, if there's anything regarding what happened to the blacksmith here.
All right. The surface thoughts that you get, first and foremost, is definitely annoyance and exhaustion. And he's kind of like, his shoulder's a little sore and he's like a little miffed. You kind of get the idea that it was a bit of a bet to see who would end up doing this, and he's drawn the short straw, so to speak. Lady Luck wasn't smiling upon him earlier this day, and he's pretty preoccupied with just this annoyance, this anger of being stuck here, swinging his axe all day, no extra money in this hot ass shop, floor falling away, trails on like that, and it just seems like he's in a very bad mood.
I would like to probe deeper to see if there's anything specifically that he's thinking about regarding this, like stupid dwarf had to get tangled in magic kind of thing.
Okay, and what kind of save is that? I think it's wisdom, but it might
Wisdom save.
wisdom save. All right, does a 13 pass?
No.
All right, and let me just read this to see if you get to direct a question. I kind of like the idea if you are able to. So why don't you start wording that, and I'll let you know.
I would like to find out what does he know regarding the situation with the blacksmith. Like, obviously, he pulled a short stick in regards to cleaning up the body, but what do they know about the body? Was anything wonky about the blacksmith? Is like, they seem to have a fairly well put together town with guards. Like, there seems to be like quite a lively show of guards, so they're not afraid of having the manpower.
So you start to pick in a little bit deeper. You focus on his anger, trying to figure out why he's so mad about this, but besides losing the bet. And you catch a name. It sounds like this dwarf wasn't even supposed to be here, and this guy's a little scared. This dwarf was Hoffman. He's a butcher. Why was he at the blacksmith? And this guy, he's frustrated, but now you feel it. There's also some fear. He doesn't know what happened to Hoffman. He doesn't know if it's going to affect him. You can see he's wearing very, very thick gloves now, thicker than the ones that the guys at the front, and he's almost kind of like every time he gags, he's like turning his head away from this thing, and you definitely get a fear of he thinks maybe it's contagious, whatever happened here, and he's worried that it's going to afflict him.
Okay, I'm just writing down notes.
The other little bit of information you get, it continues as you look a bit more into this. Let's actually get you to roll an insight check again. Just to see if you can get a little bit more here, glean a little bit more from how this guy is thinking.
That is an 18 on the die plus 2.
So, dirty 20?
Yes.
Okay. As it continues, you also dig a little bit deeper past the fear, and you also get a little bit of relief. And what you realize is he also has this thought in the very back of his mind where, even with all of this happening, he just goes, at least I'm not stuck on keep duty. I hear what happened there was a real mess. And it sounds like there's something else that happened at the keep here. Something perhaps worse than whatever happened here in the blacksmith.
Okay.
Will that do it for you?
I want to cast a quick spell. I want to cast Calm Emotions on him.
Calm emotion.
I want to just kind of alleviate his anger and his disgust and just kind of let him just chill and relax. Yeah, he's got a shitty job, but it could always be worse.
You're the butcher.
Calm emotion.
He could always be the butcher.
I'm just seeing if there's a range. Yeah, there is a range for it. Yep. No, you're definitely able to do that. Alright, so you see like he kind of like stands up a little straighter and he stops and he kind of like stretches his shoulder a little bit. He's no longer like rage chopping at this thing and his gets back to his work. He has a little bit less tense in his back. You're
Out with one shrimp at a
downstairs.
time.
You're looking around, and it's hard to tell. You know, you don't exactly find a lot here. The table just has more tools on it, and you're kind of like drawn out of the moment as upstairs the chopping stops for a moment, and there's like this very silent lull, and you just kind of hear your own breathing. And it's like super super quiet, and then it gets back to it as the guy upstairs resumes his work.
So they didn't notice me.
Nope.
Good. Okay. I don't know if there isn't like much else I can find here. I might just, go back upstairs.
All right, so
Tried to investigate. Didn't notice anything.
yeah, you make your way back up and you see Sierra Day. Are you still standing by the fence looking into the window, or?
Yep.
Alright, so yeah, that's
Just kind
how
of-
you catch him.
I'm gonna like sneak out into the back of the yard and like just keep an eye on Cielo Day so I can catch up to him.
Alright, back of the yard, not too much. You can see like there's maybe a couple of footprints back here, but there really isn't too much else to see here. This looks
Where-
like it was mostly
Where
a
are the
loading.
footprints going?
Roll a survival check.
That is it's wisdom, right?
Yep,
Survival. 18.
18. You can see several footsteps here. It looks like some people came around. There's one set that's quite heavier than the rest. And besides that, there's also some lighter footprints. Some of them look like it comes to and from this basement or this cellar staircase that you left. Couple of sets go to the fence and it looks like they hop the fence and move away, and the really big footsteps look like they make their way to the front of the shop.
Okay, so the really big ones lead to the shop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the ones that lead away just out of curiosity.
Okay. Day, as you roll a higher perception than their stealth, you see. Are you hopping the fence, or are you just making your way out?
How high is the fence, and where's the way out of the fence?
The way out of the fence leads towards the front of the store where you came in.
I'd probably hop the fence in the back.
All right, so you see as they like nimbly. It's easy enough for you. The fence isn't too tall. It's probably about 3 feet or so tall.
Yeah, plus I've got like a base +3 to my dexterity and proficiency in acrobatics.
Yeah, you're a monk. I get it. I get it. No need to flex. You jump this fence quite easily, and you can see the footsteps. It looks like they kind of split up. One going one way, the other going the other, but it looks like they all loop around this fence back to the front to regroup at some point. You can follow it for a little bit, but eventually you come to the cobblestone road, and it's hard to tell once you get there as to what happens.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but whatever. I'll like meet back up with Cielade, or at least like go back to looming behind him threateningly.
Alright, Cielade, so you've released this man's emotions. You see as the Wolfords jumps in. They're rather quick, even when they're like low to the ground trying to like be sneaky. They just kind of follow these paths for a little bit and then they return behind you like an ominous shadow.
Okay. I think I'd like to head towards the keep.
The keep, are you saying?
That's a general like stage direction. I'm going to look over at, and I'll be like, well, I think it's time that I've played nice long enough. I'm gonna go stir up a little bit of trouble at the keep. From what I understand, there was a even bigger mess there than there was here, and it's got me intrigued, I'll admit.
I'm just gonna follow you.
Okay, so they.
I think like an affirmative sort of like clicking sound with my jawbone. But that's about the only acknowledgement.
Alright, so you guys start heading towards the keep. I'll just wait for Justin quickly and then I'll get back with him.
You don't have to wait for me. My cord for the headset is kind of long.
Oh, well, in that case, it's your turn as you guys kind of take this veering left, Henry kind of leading the way. He stops momentarily and he pulls out a little map and he just kind of reads it. It's a little too high for you to read over his shoulder unless you really want to give it a try. But it looks like he checks his directions and he kind of like writes his course. And he's confident in the way that he's heading. And he looks down towards you. Looks down towards you and he goes, if you want, you can come inside. I'd maybe just be quiet. It should be a quick little conversation we're having. I'm just double checking a couple of notes here, and then we should be good.
Do you expect any danger?
Shouldn't be. I mean, we've kind of picked this area as it's nice and far from any prying eyes. I mean, High Meadows isn't exactly a busy town. This is definitely the most active I've seen it, which is a little concerning, but I don't think it should be any trouble for us.
Well, shouldn't be doesn't sound like a guarantee. I think I'm just gonna go in with you. I'm gonna like loosen the my arcane firearm in its holster.
Well, I mean, caution definitely helps. I was actually thinking of the same thing, and at this point, you guys have come up to what seems to be a nice house, and the door is like very slightly ajar, and you watch as Henry just kind of like falls into a bit of a spell casting, and you watch as his fur kind of gets a little bit shinier. You can tell it's nothing he did with his fur, but rather he has some sort of magic armor that has like appeared over himself. I guess I'll go first. And he pushes the door open and he enters. It's definitely not a well-lit area. There's just a couple of spears of sunlight that are coming in from a window. This is a two-story building, and you guys are coming in on the bottom. The whole room has almost a blue light just from like the little bit. It's mostly darkness in here, except for that. There's a table at the far end, and there's a hand just laying on the ground there behind the table. And Henry just kind of looks at you and he goes, maybe I was wrong. Maybe there is something wrong here. And he just kind of like looks around nervously and he starts like creeping his way towards this table. Anything you
Uh,
want to do or just,
Yeah, I'm actually gonna stop him. Hold on. Let me do this. Supposed to keep you safe and all, so I'm gonna pull out my weapon and heft my shield and go around the table and check this out.
Okay. So you move around this table and you see there was a chair here and the chair has toppled back and there's what seems to be another human. And he's laying back on this chair and he seems pale, far, far more pale than you would expect. And he has several welts along his body. Do me a favor and roll a medicine check.
Yeah, that'll go well. This is wisdom. Oh, wow, not bad. 18 plus wisdom, 19.
19. You glance over, and ever since you've left the relative safety of Ithril, you've been encountering bugs a lot more than you would like to, and you can recognize a bug sting when you see one. This guy seems as if he's been stung 50 to 100 times by various wasps, and at some point it was enough, and he died from it.
I'm gonna nudge him with my foot just to make sure.
Alright, so you give him a little kick, and what was your roll again? You said you got a 19?
Yeah.
The body barely moves. It's actually quite hard, and you can tell that it's still in rigor mortis at this point. This guy died probably earlier today. Roll a perception check for me. Or it can be insight if you want to be a bit more investigative in the way you approach this.
Investigation. How's the light in here also?
As I said, it's low light. It's almost blue except for the couple of... Well, it's blue because of the couple of... I'm trying to find a better way to word this.
Or rather, what's it lit
I'll let you
by?
know based on what you roll. It's mostly just the sunlight coming in from the window, but the way I'm going to describe this depends on your roll.
13 plus investigation, dirty 20.
Dirty 20, alright. So, now that you've given a look at this and you kind of look into things a bit more, trying to figure out what happens, there's a few things you piece together. The shafts of light are coming because even though the curtains are open, it looks like the window was crudely boarded up at some point. Window glass is still intact. No sign of entry from there. Looking at the desk, there's a stack of paperwork off to one side, and you see a candle. Wax has been pooling on this thing for a little bit, but the fire's gone out for quite a while at this point. So the only light in here is coming from the couple of shafts that make their way past this barricaded window. You also see there's a staircase in the corner that goes up. And besides that, this is a very empty room. It's almost strange at just how empty it is. It's like the desk was meant to be the only focal point in this whole place. Maybe it was to lend focus to whoever entered here, or maybe it was just this guy didn't really own a lot and he didn't really care about a lot.
Multiple rooms on the first floor?
Nope, this just seems to be a single open room.
Okay. Uh,
Do you think you would go over the body? What that took?
well, before I'm doing anything, uh, say softly over to Henry, this guy's dead. Give
Henry.
me a minute. I'm gonna go check the upstairs and see if make sure that we're actually alone.
Okay, I'll stay down here, and he kind of like goes over to the desk, and you can see he has his paws up, and he's kind of like moving his wrists in like loose circles as if he's holding a spell. And as you make your way up, you see he kind of like stops the spell, and he quickly grabs some papers off of the desk, and he like shoves them into his side satchel. But you,
I'm gonna move over to the stairs. Heft the shield, gun right over the top of it. I'm gonna just slowly and carefully, quietly walk up.
okay? Are you trying to be stealthy? Do you want to roll a stealth?
Yes, I do. That's not very good. 4 plus dex. Yeah, that's a whole 6. Yeah,
A whole 6.
I'm sneaky.
Okay, so you start to make your way up, and partway through the stairs just kind of like start creaking underneath your weight. And you try to hurry a little bit, and like you're louder than you want to be in your haste to make it off of this creaking staircase. But you come up, and as soon as you're like level with the horizon of the staircase, we shall say, you see it looks like it opens into a hallway, and there seems to be 4 doors to either side. Sorry, 2 doors to either side for a total of 4 doors, and there's a window at the far end, just barely cracked open. I can't hear you.
Because I forgot to hit the button. I'm gonna start sweeping the top, room by room.
Okay. Are you opening these doors in any particular manner, closing them after you? What does sweeping the room look like for Fizzle?
Just whichever door is closest, open it up, open the door up, and just take a quick look around, make sure it's empty. If it's
Okay.
empty, move on to the next one.
Alright, so you go to the first door. We'll say you start on your right, and you push it open. None of these doors seem like they're locked, and it actually seems like they're all slightly ajar. Roll a perception check for me.
Let's use a different dice this time. That's 14.
14, eh? So I'm just quickly changing my music over here. Quite loud. We'll just set that down a little bit. There you go. That should be good. Sorry about that. For you watching the stream, Rhythm Bot has been banned, so it is what it is. And I'll also give this change of music to my players in case they care. So, with your 14, you open these up and you're taking a very quick little glance through. The first room, it seems like this is where the guy has been keeping his meals and stuff like that. It looks like a larder with another table in the middle, and you can see a plate. Still with some cheese there, and there's a couple of flies buzzing around it. Don't see anything that grabs your attention, so you move down to the next door on the right. I imagine you're doing a loop to kind of get back to where you started. No?
Nope. Just whichever's closest, move all
Whichever's
the way
closest? Okay, so
Yeah.
instead you go to the door on your left. This one, it seems like there's a bit more to it. It seems like a bit of a study. There's, again, a window here. This one's closed. Curtains are open, and it's the brightest room you've seen so far. There's a little bench underneath the window, and then there's several bookcases here. Most of them are empty or very spacious, but there's a couple of pieces of paper piled here, and you see an ink pot on the lowest one, as well as a quill resting next to it. You move on to the next door. This one will again be on the left side. This one, it seems like a bedroom. You know, there's a bed in the corner. There's a wardrobe in here, and again, a window. This one closed. And then you get to the last room and you open it. And this one, you see it has a bucket. It has a mirror in it. And it also has like a little basin here still filled with water that you assume this guy might have used to bathe in.
Also empty.
Also empty.
Okay. Before I go back downstairs, back to the bedroom, check the closet, check underneath the bed.
Okay, let's get an investigation for this.
I'm just checking to see if there's actually anyone here. Oh, that's real good. Plus investigation. Ooh, 26.
26. So you come through and you give it a quick little look. You notice that the bed is disheveled. You notice that the pillow actually is not even on the bed, as if someone has come through here searching this room as well. You look under the bed and you see there's quite a bit of dust, except for this one spot where it looks like a chest used to be held. But it's been removed, and you can see in the dust a clear trail where it's been dragged out from under the bed. Checking the closet, you see several things of clothing, and you also see this guy, whoever he was, seems to have been a mage. There's mostly cloth in here, and you can also see at the very far back there seems to be an array of several wands just sat there in what seems to be a wand holster.
Yoink.
Alright, so you're just grabbing the whole holster.
Oh yeah, that's
Alright.
going right in the bag of holding.
Alright, well there's 5 wands in there.
Alright, back downstairs. Henry, all's clear.
Well, I was quickly looking through these. Something's missing, the thing he was supposed to have for me. It's a map of some sort. It's supposed to detail something that's quite important for me.
Well, looks like someone's been here, and looks like the place has been tossed already.
I assumed the worst when we got here and the door was open. He looks down towards the body. He was usually quite prepared for these things. His door was always locked, and we were supposed to have a knock. But as you can see, the door was open. So I don't know what we do next. Oh, where we're supposed to go.
There was some papers up in the upstairs. Probably nothing that you need, but we can check it out.
Well, if it's clear, I'd love to give that a quick look. Like, this is really quite important. The entire reason of my business was to get something from this man. And he kind of like makes his way up the stairs, and he's definitely not being very stealthy. He's actually moving with quite a bit of haste, and he seems quite frazzled as he makes his way up. And he pushes open the first door, wrong door. Pushes open the next door, wrong door again. And he like goes back and he like looks towards you, like, where was these papers?
Second on the left, was it?
And he pushes that one, and it is the right room. And he makes his way in there, and he just starts like rifling through. He's not being very careful, and he picks us up, looks through them, nothing. So he starts grabbing books, and he's just holding them open and shaking. And he's just kind of like tossing them on the floor, and it's like, useless, useless, useless. Where is it? Where is it? And then he just kind of like stops, and he sits down at the bench underneath the window. And he says, my apologies, Fizzle. I'm just a little frazzled right now.
That's okay. There was a chest underneath the bed from what I saw, but whoever was here took it.
A chest. That might help, actually, if this guy's taking the chest. Maybe we could detect object. I've seen this chest before. I've worked with this man once before, but usually when we're dealing with wraiths, we have very similar things to try to prevent things like this.
Wraith?
Roll a history check.
Like ghost wraiths?
Roll a history check.
Oh, this one's so hard to read. 14 plus history is... History is intelligence. Good. 18.
18. You briefly get a memory of that. Wraiths aren't really talked about too much. When it comes to Ithril, everyone that's magic usually serves in one way or another. The typical way is the battle mages, who every winter have to move over to the northern side and protect against the barbarians when the lakes freeze. Wraiths, however, are mages that specialize in certain schools of magic. Usually, if they're humans, they're used for espionage, kind of like the FBI or the CIA, for instance. You kind of get an idea that
Uh,
Roswell here probably
Magical spook.
is a magical spook at this point. And this is kind of when like something goes off in your mind, and you remember briefly him mentioning New Ithril, which is where a bunch of mages have been heading. It's been a little odd, looking back at it. Some stuff has been going down in Ithril, and the king has been having a lot of meeting with various families. And mages at this point have been not really having the best time. There's whispers of something happening. But you've never met a wraith in your life, and the fact that he's dropped this is a little concerning.
Alright, I like your idea, but I think we should get the other two first. Because seems like this is quickly getting a bit more serious than we thought.
Good, good. Where do we find them? The tavern, right? They were going to the tavern.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, well let's head there then, and hopefully, Sealaday's easy to find. He'll be singing. We just have to listen for that, right? We'll be okay. We'll be good. This is fine. This is fine. And he just kind of like stands up, and he takes a breath, and he just kind of like puts his paws together, and it looks like he's almost like saying a little prayer to himself. And then he dusts off his jacket, and he looks like he's calmed himself. And with that, you guys are heading towards the tavern then?
Yep.
Okay. Meanwhile, Sealaday and you guys have been making your way through this town towards the keep, and it's definitely the biggest structure in High Meadows. And you get up there, and definitely this seems to be where there's the most guards. Do you have any approach here? Or are you just sticking to the main path? What's it looking like?
Considering that something presumably bad happened here, I'd like to skirt the edge. I'd like to come at it from is there like a forest around it? Not a forest, it's a desert. Bleh. Is there any buildings or any structures I can kind of hide behind and mask my approach?
So you want to try to be stealthy?
Yep.
Well, let's get a stealth check.
Expertise. Good thing, because that was a 7. What? How do dice work? How does math work? So 6 plus 2, so 8. So I have 15. Don't mind me, my brain was melting at work.
Okay.
I don't know how math works.
And can I get the same thing from you?
And I'm rolling.
Stealth, if you're trying to be stealthy. You see Sealaday, you're getting close to this keep. It seems like there's quite a bit of guards here, quite a bit of traffic, as well as there seems to be a stop if you want to get in. And you see as Sealaday kind of steps off the side of the road, and he kind of moves by some bushes.
That is another 23.
Another 23, alright. You follow suit with Sealaday, but you're actually able to kind of bend a little bit shorter than he is. His height isn't quite fully obscured by these bushes, but for you it's quite easy, so you just kind of lower your legs without worry of having to hold this position for a while, and you're able to move quite easily with him. You scope out this area, and it's weird because I gotta stop saying that. It's not weird. It makes perfect sense. This thing is built on a hill, and the only real way to get in would be either to climb the walls or cross the drawbridge that these guys have set their checkpoint on. It's a very easy to defend location. This keep was well thought out, and it's probably useful to have such a fortified position so close to the Freeman borders.
Do I see any windows along the way?
Uh,
Like, are there within reason?
Not really windows, except for at the very, very tallest of the towers, but you do see like lots of little openings for like arrow slits and stuff like that.
How big are they? I know like murder holes are usually pretty small, but
You definitely wouldn't be able to fit through unless you were able to reduce your height or your size.
okay. Then how tall, like how high up are the windows? Like 60 feet?
Not the windows, they're probably getting close to 70, 80.
I would like to try something then. Because of my, because of the fact I'm a,
An elf?
no, it's the bard class. It's School of the Fool, I believe it is.
Oh, satire.
Satire bard. Yeah. So the tumble, taking the tumble action gives me dash or disadvantage, as well as climbing speed equal to my movement, and then I take half damage from falling, because reasons. So I'd like to tumble, dash, and basically run up the wall and leap for one of the windows.
Roll. It'll be acrobatics. I'd like to give you disadvantage, but I
I
mean,
mean, climbing speed.
yeah, but you're not a monk, right?
Yeah, but climbing speed.
I'll give it to you. It's a clever idea enough that I'll give it to you as a flat roll. I assume you've gone to the back of this.
Yeah. So I'd like to go where the guards aren't.
Now, I should mention, as I said, you'll need to do this twice. First, because, like I said, it's on a hill separate from everything else, so it's quite a steep climb to get up. So, you do
Yep.
that, and now you're at the base of the stone, so now you'll have to do it again. I mentioned this because if you were to jump from the tower, it's probably closer to 120 feet drop, unless you manage to land back on this hill.
Yeah, because it's like a pseudo moat to protect himself.
Yes, but instead of a
So
moat,
you
it's
can't
just
have.
a big drop.
Yeah, so you can't wheel siege towers
Yep.
up to it, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. So that was a 14 on the die, plus I have proficiency in acrobatics, so that is a 19.
All right. Are you following suit with this as you watch as Sealiday kind of like gets off the road? He follows it down into this gully, and then he, with surprising grace, almost as close as yours, makes it up this first hill, and he's like looking at the wall, and then he just kind of like gives it a go, and surprisingly, like he just goes for it. His hands are finding all of the handholds, his feet are finding all of the footholds, and within 6 seconds, he's like made it to this window. And with one last leap, you watch as he like grabs onto the window sill at the very top of one of these towers.
Yeah, I'll follow him.
Can I also get an acrobatics check from you?
Yep. That is only a 16. I've got +9 to acrobatics.
I mean, it's still easy enough for you. You make it a lot less graceful, but you're strong enough that you're kind of like digging in your own handholds as you go. Sealiday, you can hear the sound of them coming up behind you. What are you doing once you're on this windowsill?
Before I properly vault the windowsill and climb in, I want to look inside to make sure that there's no guards or anything immediately there.
Let's get a perception check.
And then I have expertise, so I just know the number to add. Okay, so I add +8. That's a 13 plus 8, so 21.
21. Yeah, you look in and it seems empty, you know. It's a nice window, and it might be difficult for you to figure out a way to get in here, but you've come this far. But the room seems empty. Where you look into it seems to be a bed chamber, maybe. It's not exactly the easiest thing to figure out. But, you know, there's a bed off on the side. You can see a little stool here and a small little writing desk next to it, as if someone might want to sit here and look out across High Meadows.
Okay. So since there's no one in sight, I'm going to pull myself through the window and dust myself off.
Now, like I said, there's glass on this window.
Oh, sorry.
Stained glass, to be exact. So it doesn't exactly seem like it's a mobile window. It was difficult to see from before, as you were pretty much looking straight up. But now that you've come face to face with it, at this point, you get to the windowsill as well. And Sealade is just kind of clinging there next to you, and you see the same thing. Again, the room is in weird colors as you look through this stained glass, and you make out a bed, you make out the writing desk, all of that.
Kitty, kitty, you need help getting down.
I'm trying to figure a way in without causing too much of a scene. While I just look through my spell list and my fucking items.
Can I try to, like, open the window?
Huh?
Huh?
I mean, he said it was stained glass, so there's probably not a hinge or anything it opens.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem that way. You roll an investigation check anyways, and let's see if you find anything.
Well, do I see any other windows?
From where you are, as you guys are literally just on this tower looking in, it's difficult to really make out much of anything due to your perspectives here.
Did I remember seeing any other, like, windows or balconies nearby?
Windows or balconies? Roll a perception check for me. Wanna roll this with disadvantage, by the
17.
way.
Disadvantage?
Yeah, just because now this is like a
17.
17 anyways.
Yeah.
So there's a very simple wall in here. You imagine it lets into a courtyard. You're currently on one of the towers here. You guys didn't exactly do the most thorough casing, but you remember there was a balcony, but it is closer to ground level, and it looks like you would need to make your way over the wall. This tower is part of the wall, and it was the easily accessible one, and this was definitely one of the higher points to get to. But if you were to go down, continue, hop the wall, you could probably make your way to that balcony, but there's really no way to tell how many guards are within the courtyard. But it is an option.
I'm such an idiot.
What?
Sirlite is going to take one hand off the windowsill, like tap himself in the forehead, like, why didn't I do this? He's going to reach down and he's going to grab his cloak, and he's just going to tap on the wall once with one of the patches, and a 2-foot window appears.
Nice. Alright, so you form this window directly next to the end of the window. But this one, it's weird, you know? This is an outside tower, but you have a backwards window, and you have the hatch to open it right next to your hand.
Someone messed
Magic
up on the
window door.
blueprints. So, just going
That window
to
that's always been there.
I'm gonna grab the windowsill and I'm just gonna swing my leg up and through.
Okay.
Why?
They probably just clicked on the wrong one. They're like, ooh, people? And they're like, oh, it's the stream. Alright, so you open this window and you put your foot in and you're inside. It's no longer the same red, green, blue room that you saw outside, as you now see it in the actual colors it's meant to be. decent bed. Seems to be larger than pretty much any bed you've seen before. Definitely the
Can
room
I?
of some noble.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. I would like to snoop through their things.
Uh,
If there's papers, if there's letters, I want to kind of understand if they're writing about what was happening in the tower, if I can gauge any information from it.
well, let's get an investigation check in. I'm assuming you're coming inside as well. So what's
I'm gonna follow him.
doing as Sealaday kind of moves towards the desk and towards other things, just kind of
gonna-
looking for whatever he can
I'm gonna
find.
poke around a bit. But mostly, I'm just interested in seeing, like, is there anything worth taking home with me, perhaps?
All right. Do you want investigation or perception?
Me? Just perception.
All right, roll a perception then.
I'm mostly just, like, loitering about. That is 19.
19. All right.
I got a 17 for investigation.
So I want to give you guys a quick little overview here. I'm just going to jump back to Henry quickly because they would be arriving at the tavern around this time, see where they're going, and then we'll be back. So, looking through. Sealaday, you focus more on the papers and you look around the bed, for instance, and you're like, has to be something. You find several things of fine clothing here. Seems to be a prince's room or a lordling's room of some sort. You don't really find much of useful things except for a few things of gossip here and there, drawings of a few fair ladies, and a couple of vows written. You get the idea this guy might be studying to become a knight or something like that. It seems like a bit of a younger kid though, so there isn't really like too much important things, except there's a few passages about let me make sure I don't mess up his name. Except for a few notes about his sister, Yenvir, being weird and her bringing people over at all times of the night. He's has a few unkind words and he insinuates a few things about his sister and her purity, but it's really the most you can find. You also find out that whoever this person was, their name was Bass, B-A-S. And the sister's name is Y-N-I-V-I-R.
Oh, I put VERE.
So that's the most you find. Meanwhile,
And the nobles, the male noble, his name is Bass.
yeah, B-A-S. Yeah. If you want the last name, it would be Rynik. R-Y-N-A-I-K. Roll a history check if you care to.
Me?
Yep.
And that was what check, sir?
History check.
History. That's an 11, but I have proficiency because bards just have everything. So that is a +4 on a 11, so 15.
15. You're aware that there's a main family called the Ryniks, and they rule the city of Lake Meadows, which is kind of like a pseudo capital to this place. So this is distant relatives that lord over this city. They're all supposed to be lizard folks, as far as you recall. So while you're looking through this and you're flipping through these papers and you're making a couple mental notes.
You said Clear Lake, or do you mean Clear Beach?
Nope.
Okay, so it's another place.
Lake Meadows.
Oh.
Yes.
My brain is jelly.
Yeah, no problem. So you're doing this. Meanwhile, they're not really interested in papers, and instead they look for more things. You find what seems to be a small purse of gold. You again find some fine clothing here and there. You see a weapon rack pushed into the corner of the room, and you see what seems to be 3 rapiers, a long sword, a thing of swords, and an array of daggers, as well as a metal breastplate that's just kind of on the wall above it. Smaller than you would expect. Again, it seems like these are all made for a younger sort of kid, but someone
Mhm.
interested in learning how to fight. All the weapons are very fine, very nicely crafted. Some of them you would even say ornate beyond the point of use.
Which ones are like fine but not useless?
The longsword seems the most useful, as well as one of the daggers. Everything
I'm,
else, though, seems definitely more for show.
I'm gonna tuck the dagger and the longsword in my bag of holding.
Okay. So you'll take those.
As a note, I wanted to take all the prince's clothes
All
and
the
put them in my
princess clothes.
bag of holding.
All of them?
All of them.
Alright, you can add 25 fine clothings.
Got enough there, buddy?
Like to be prepared for the
Roll a
occasion.
perception check.
Which one of us?
You.
+9 makes it a 22.
22. So you start just taking the clothes out of this closet, and as you're going, you find what seems to be a switch at the far back of this closet.
I can't control myself.
You pull it, and it seems to be a secret passage kind of like opens up here.
I'm gonna kind of hiss towards if I peek my head around the corner or inside, is there a switch that closes it from the inside?
You think so? There might be something there.
Okay,
Do you have
I'm
dark
gonna.
vision?
Yes.
Yep, in that case, you do indeed see something like that. And you also see a torch on a sconce, but it's unlit.
Okay, I'm going to kind of hiss at and gesture. I'm gonna like nod my head and I'll just walk in.
Guess I'm following.
So that's where you guys are going. Meanwhile, Fizzle and Henry, you guys arrive at the Grazing Meadow Tavern. There's a few people in here drinking, not an overly busy thing, as it's still relatively early in the day, but you don't spot the two striking figures that you're looking for.
Hmm.
Having a crisis.
Real quick. Yeah. I'm used to having like higher level spells.
Fireball? He's
Whoopsie!
gonna fireball the tavern.
Henry, I don't suppose you can like send messages across long distances?
Actually, I can. I was just holding on to my spell slots, as I don't know what's going on, but I'm starting to think this is a little important.
If you can send one and still be able to locate objects, I think maybe you should send a message to check.
That definitely seems like a good idea. I sadly probably he's just kind of like stopping, he's like thinking to himself, goes, "No, I should be able to locate object as well. We should be good." Okay. And he just kind of like looks like, and he's thinking to himself, and he kind of like opens up his satchel and he pulls out a little spell book, and he looks around and goes, "Let's just step outside." And he makes his way outside as he digs through his bag, and he pulls out a weird little piece of copper, and he just kind of like glances around, picks a direction, holds it up, and he like whispers to it. Um, in your mind, you hear Henry's voice, and he goes, "Hey, we're at the inn. I don't see you, and something happened with my contact. Where are you? Why aren't you at the inn?"
The
You mean
bug
in our
has
defense?
trouble. Now I'm at a tower. Oh boy, keeping an eye on him.
In our defense, we never told them we were going to the tavern.
True.
They just
We just
assumed.
assumed.
Yeah.
But we assumed rightly.
You always
Yeah,
go to the
but-
taverns. So Henry looks
Bard,
towards you and he goes, Chick wasn't the most helpful. They said they're at a tower with Sealadane, keeping an eye on him. only towers I've seen here was the one when we first came in, and one over there, and he points towards the keep off in the distance.
And then just like immediately is like, oh no.
That's definitely the tower they're at. It's the worst one to be at.
Screw it. Time is of the essence. Let's find this thing. If we can.
Okay, so you want me to just cast Find Object and see where that goes?
It's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, this one, perhaps we should find a different place and I can set it up. Just quickly checking the range. I mean, then again, maybe the center of town might be best in case he's in town, and then we'll have the widest area, and then I can walk around for a little bit. Maybe I could cast it here. And he's just kind of thinking to himself, he's like, we have 10 minutes once I cast it, about 1,000 feet.
It's not long. Yeah, let's go to the center of town. Like, find a quiet alley or something like that then.
Okay. And he starts going through his stuff, and he pulls out what seems to be a twig with 2 ends on it. And he starts, like, whispering to himself. And you guys soon enough reach the center of town, and he finishes his spell. And he looks in a direction, and he goes, I think it's that way. So you guys are going to start going that way?
Quick fart. Quick march.
Alright, so you guys start going that way. Meanwhile, and I'm going to be just jumping back and forth to try to keep everyone going. It'll be shorter and shorter increments. Unless something important happens. Sound good?
Mhm.
Alright. So are you guys lighting a torch or anything? Or do you have dark vision as well?
I don't believe I have dark vision. No, I don't.
It's a very dark tunnel. Ciolidae looks like they've already taken a couple of steps in, but they're waiting for you within.
I'm going to cast light on my whip.
Okay. Suddenly, quite bright in this tunnel as
I'm gonna have it like coiled up in my hands.
Okay. Day will be a little taken aback as his eyes has just gotten used to the dark when you decided to rudely shine a fucking light in my eye.
I wasn't trying to shine it in your eyes. That was just a happy coincidence.
Does the tunnel seem to lead anywhere? Like, does it wind? Does it go down, up?
It seems like it has a
loop-de-loops?
very nice round to it, and you can tell, like, as this is a tower, it looks like this goes the radius, or sorry, the circumference of the tower, as if it, and then probably goes back into the keep somewhere.
Does it look like it's been used a lot? Like, is it a old dusty tunnel?
No, it's actually
Or is
quite
it-
nice, you know. From what you can see
Okay.
with this light, it's nice cobblestone. It's quite thick stone. Yeah,
So it was taken care of.
at least used quite recently.
Okay. I want to keep an eye out for anything out of place in the tunnel. Like, I don't know if there would be traps here, but I want to assume that this tunnel's here for a reason.
All right. Roll a perception check and let me know. Are you closing or leaving it open?
Closing it.
Okay, so you pull the lever behind you, and there's a little as the back of the closet slides back into place.
And I got a 18.
An 18, right? And you start to make your way down here with you leading, I'm assuming, as you did this roll. And it rounds with this tower, and then it goes into a straightaway, and then it seems like it rounds back out as if you're going into another tower. You get to the end, and there's the same setup here with the torch unlit. There's another lever here to open it, but you see as well there's a message, and it just says, "Go away, Bass. I'm done playing."
And it's just a sign that's like on the wall?
It looks like it was written on the back of the wardrobe, if you assume it opens the same way.
Okay. Is it just in like ink? Is it
Roll an
how is it?
investigation check. I mean, you're literally looking at this.
Okay, I
with light.
got a nat 20, so that's 21.
It seems like it was written in ink.
Can I discern how old it seems to be? Like if it was kind of dusty or gathering dust?
It's a little smudged along the edges. You get a feeling like it was written, but the
little
door's been
hasteful?
opened a couple of times. It's been touched. It's not fresh.
Okay. Then I would like to roll a perception check to gauge if if I can hear anything on the inside.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that there's a corresponding switch.
Yep. Like I said, you see the same setup with the same torch, the same lever.
Okay. Then I would like to roll perception to gauge if there's anything inside, and if I don't hear anything, I'm opening the door.
Okay. Are you doing
just-
anything of note or just following along, being patient?
I'm just following along. I'm just along for the ride at this point.
Okay.
I just rolled another nat 20, so welcome to nothing but ones in combat. That's how math works. So that's a 28 to perception.
28. So you stop and you listen, and you hear a couple of voices, but they're quite muffled. You get the idea that they're probably not in this room, but farther away. But just because of how quiet it is, you can hear the guys that you are assuming are probably in the hallway or next to this room or adjacent to this room. But it's very difficult to make out, even with that roll, words.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna open the door. If I don't think there's anyone directly inside, I'm just gonna open it.
Alright, so you open it, and it opens in the same way, and you come face to face with several dresses, all hanging nicely in this closet. And looking
I'm
past
putting them
that,
in my bag.
you can add 10 dresses.
Where are
Fine
you
dresses.
keeping all of these?
He has a bag of
I'm s-
holding,
Oh, okay.
right? Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them does.
Both of us do.
Both of us.
Oh God, all of us do then. Jesus.
Always. Okay. Now that I'm done stowing pretty princess in the bag, what else is there? What do my elf eyes see?
You see a very similar setup. The parents haven't taken favorites here. So you see the same bed. This room, however, it has like more green tones to it, and the bookcase, however, is much nicer kept. And there's a writing desk, but instead of there being like armor in the corner, you see what seems to be a sewing station, as well as a diary, but it has a little lock on it, and it even has the words diary next to it. Roll a investigation check for me.
That is a 16.
16. Everything is faintly dusty, though, except for the bed. The diary has a layer of dust on it. The chairs, everything here seems in disuse except for the bed. But
Okay,
even the
I'm
bed,
going-
it's perfectly made. It's not dusty. Something's been sleeping on it, but no one's bothered to move the covers or anything like that. Or maybe they've decided to make the bed perfectly before they left.
I'm gonna quickly, I'm gonna just sweep the diary into my bag of holding, and then I want to go through all of the drawers and take anything that's not nailed down if it looks like it would be interesting or of value.
Okay, and what are you doing during all of this?
I'm gonna look around for valuables again.
Alright, then I'll get a perception check from you, as James has done more rolling than you.
Yeah.
And I'll count for both of you, as I am a cruel DM.
Ooh, 18 plus 6. That would be
I can always count on
24.
Ariel.
Alright, so you guys kind of work together here to kind of loot this, if anything, nicely. The dresses definitely were nice. The diary that you've taken. You also, like, go back to the closet and you guys can find, and it's up to you to split this however you want, but there seems to be a small chest in there filled with, like, several things of jewelry. Most of it actually quite nice. It isn't about quantity with this one, it's much more about quality, and there's probably about 5 gold chains, 3 rings with different stones in them.
Does it look like anybody's been touching this jewelry box recently?
No, everything else is just super dusty. Everything, like I said, is in disuse except for the bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the box from the sides, empty the contents into my bag of holding, and carefully replace it, trying not to touch the top of the box and trying to lay it down in the exact spot I had picked it up from.
Alright, so see you later. You're grabbing the dyer at this point, and you look back and you see shoveling everything into there and then gently setting this box back down. Can I get stealth checks from both of you?
Yes, you can.
If I was a dick, by the way, I would say you guys never said stealth and the guys outside hear you, but I'll give you a chance. Consider this as a warning to be exact in what you intend to do when you enter a room.
17 on the die
25.
for stealth plus 2 plus expertise. So that is 25.
25? I mean, you guys are quiet, and it's easy because, like I said, now that you're inside this room, you can hear more of the conversation from outside the door. And they're definitely being not quiet. They seem as though they're rather boisterous in their tones. And especially now with how quiet you guys are being, and there's kind of like this lull after Chick finishes dumping everything in. They seem to be talking about what happened, and one of them is being louder than the other, and one of them goes, "How much longer do you think we gotta be out here?" And the other one says, "Doesn't really matter. It's better here than down there in the actual courtroom with whatever the hell happened down there." And the other one goes, "I mean, you got a point there. What about Bass? You think they're gonna let him or the rest of the family out of the dungeon, or what do you think's gonna happen when the Renniks find out?" And the other one goes, "It's not really my problem, is it? We're just here to guard this, and don't really need to worry about any of that. We're following orders and all of that." And conversation kind of continues like that. Do you want to listen to more, or what's the move here?
I have a good idea of like what's going on. At least I have more information. So if there's nothing else in the room that seems useful or valuable, I'm just gonna steal back to the tunnel.
Okay. Same thing, or anything else you would like to declare here at Customs? I think might have stolen away to get a snack, so why don't I come back to you guys, and I'll just quickly jump back to Justin and Henry. So you guys again, it's been a little bit, these guys have made their way through the tunnels by now, and you've started to come up this hill, and you see the same checkpoint at the drawbridge to this keep.
Which way?
Oh wait, sorry, you guys were going... I'm confused, my bad. Sorry, so you guys are following Henry as he's leading you with this stick, looking for wherever this chest is. Can I get a perception check from you, Fizzle?
Nice. 17 plus perception. 18.
18. So, you guys start making your way through, and you end up going into the opposite direction of the keep. The keep is off to the north, and you guys are kind of going southwest a little bit. Into a bit of a shadier area, back towards the blacksmith. You get the same description that the other ones got about that, but you've already been past here, and it doesn't really matter. And you guys move deeper in, and it's more businesses at this point. Eventually, you come to what seems to be some sort of warehouse or storage area. It's off on the outskirts of town here. Probably a good place for people to load their stuff and then move on. Um, Henry looks at you and he goes, "It should be about 100 more feet from here, probably within this building." Um, with your perception, though, you hear what seems to be a weird buzzing sound on the other side of the door, and Henry's kind of like reaching towards the door at this point. You're muted again.
Keep on forgetting to hit the button. I slap his hand away before he can open it, or even touch it.
Oh,
Like, hey, wait. Remember what your friend looked like? There's some buzzing behind the door.
good thing you were here. You'd think these ears would help me hear something. And his ears are quite long and floppy. They're definitely not up and aloof. So and he kind of like lifts one up at this point, and he goes, "I think I hear it." And he lowers his voice at this point. He goes, "So what's the plan now? What do we do? Do we just go in? Do we?"
We're definitely not going in through the front.
Okay.
Let's just quietly walk around the building, do a full loop, see what entrances there are, and then decide.
Roll an investigation while you're doing this. And while you're doing this, Henry's just kind of talking very quietly to you. And again, he seems a bit more nervous now. He's like, "I think it was bugs. You think that's what the buzzing is? Do you think there's bugs in this building?"
I hope not. I haven't had good luck with bugs in the past.
Me either. I'm not really a fan of bugs. I lived one place and there's quite a few cockroaches, and I've had a few people in that could talk, but they never really stopped.
That's a 12, by the way.
A 12? It's a little hard to concentrate as Henry tells you his stories about trying to get a wizard to talk to cockroaches to get cockroaches to move, and he continues on about how they're ungrateful beasts and all they want is your food, and trying to reason with them is much like trying to get Seal a day to not sing in a tavern.
I play the flute. How dare you?
But you don't really see like any hidden ways in, but there seems to be a big double door at the back. This is definitely on the outskirts of town for them to bring carts in. There's also a couple of windows here and there, but most of them are quite dusty, and you'd probably need a little bit of a lift to be able to see into them. So there's the door at the front, the double doors at the back, and then probably 4 windows in total. But you'd need a little boost to look into. And Henry, again, he's more busy talking than anything else.
I finally just look out at him.
He lowers himself down to you, and he goes,
Hand just right over the mouth.
"Shh, I talk when I'm nervous, I'm sorry." He shuts up at that point.
Okay.
"Maybe we could talk to these bugs."
Doubtful. How about you boost me up so I can take a peek through one of these windows?
"I don't think I can lift you, but he goes to a window and he just kind of like goes down on all fours so you can like step on his back.
I'll
Do you have
actually take off my backpack, since that's actually a little bit heavy and made of like mostly metal, and then I'll try to scramble up.
Alright. Do you have dark vision?
No, but I pulled down my goggles of night.
Alright, and then let's get a perception check, just nice and flat.
$15.
15, right? So you look in, and again, there's quite a few chests, and well, not chests. There's quite a few crates in this area. You can see several wagons, no horses or anything like that. Still just loaded with supplies. Doesn't seem like anyone's working in here, but there's some movement, and you can see like there's like some wasps or some bugs just fluttering around through here. Some of them land on crates and then they take off. Roll a nature check.
Intelligence. So oh, okay, that one might have to go away. That's a total of 7.
Total of 7. You can't really tell what sort of bugs they are or anything like that. You can just tell they look like they have big stingers and they're probably being a halfling. Some are about the size of like half of your hand. If you were a human, it'd probably be about the size of one of your fingers. They're quite big
Like
wasps.
finger or thumb?
Finger. Quite long. While you think about this, I'm just going to jump back to the other group, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I need a moment.
So, are you back?
Yeah.
Alright, so you guys make your way back to this tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
hidden secret tunnel in the wall, and what's the plan from there?
I think now that I have information and I've kind of looted my little heart out for the moment being, I think I want to get away from the tower.
Okay, so you guys make your way back through this and back into Bass's room. Your window's still there, nice and open. So
Yep.
nice breeze coming through here. The curtains drifting nicely against the glass, and there's a faint little rattle from it, but nothing too noisy.
Can you pick this back up?
Unfortunately, no. Once I place it, it's fairly permanent.
That is unfortunate. Now they'll know when someone was killed.
I'm not so certain about that. Someone would have just broken the window. Why would someone place a window here? It'll be more of a mystery about the window than the people. They built a perfectly up-to-code window in the middle of a tower. It's a little odd.
That is fair.
Yes.
But it's still a clear sign that somebody else was here.
We'll be out of here in no time.
I mean, I will be. Do you intend to climb down, or shall I carry you like a little baby?
If I don't have to worry about hanging myself out this window, I wouldn't mind being whisked off my feet.
I'm gonna throw him over my shoulder, fireman carry style, and jump out casting slow fall.
Okay, so you're expecting like this nice little carry, and you like move your arms as if you're going to like get a piggyback, and they just kind of like duck under you, and before you know it, you're over their shoulder, and they're moving to this window with quite a bit of speed, and then they just kind of like jump out the window, dig their hand into the wall, and they just kind of like slide down it.
I'm going to be very tense all the way down. My entire body is just like... I was expecting to be carried and whisked off my feet, carried across the threshold, not yeeted out the window.
I'm just double checking how slow fall works. I think I
I
understand.
reduce damage equal to 5 times my monk level.
Right, and what's your monk level?
That's 5.
5? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let me quickly roll for this.
25. I'll also try to like. Should I roll on acrobatics just to like?
Yeah, let's get an acrobatics to see how well you slide down the wall as well.
And
wait,
if,
shall I-
if
Oh.
Ariel's about to
Oh.
biff or I'm about to
Oh.
fall, I'm gonna tumble because that also halves the damage.
Well, I might be okay because that's 16.
I mean, it wasn't the most graceful, but between that and the slow fall, you managed to, again, just dig your hand into the wall. And it's a little louder than you intended it to be, and some of the stones are, like, coming loose as your hand, like, digs into this wall. But you make it down A-okay. But there's a clear path of stones that have been like knocked loose that lead up to this window.
I'm gonna cast mending on my leather gloves.
And
Because I imagine they would have gotten like one, at least a bit, if there's a path.
yeah, and you set Seal Lady down as you guys like look and you see this handiwork that you've left.
Yep. But it's very clearly not me now. My gloves in my hand are fine.
Yeah, they're checking hands. You're good. All right.
I'm going to take a. I'm just gonna make a break for it, like up and over the hill. As long as I, like preliminary scouting, then I want to run up and over the hill, and like make it as far away from the keep as possible.
All right. Are you heading back into town, away from town?
Probably towards the tavern because that's what I told the guard I would do.
All right.
So
I
probably
follow as
like
stealthily as I
go through
can.
the most crowded area, kind of blend in, and then go to the tavern.
All right, works for me. So you guys start heading back towards the tavern.
But I'll be back. I'm just going to the bathroom.
Okay. I was gonna say, do you want to take a quick 5-minute break here and then we'll get back to this, or are you good to go, Justin?
I'm good to go if the others want to take a quick bio break,
All right.
or if
We'll,
you want to also.
yeah. So we'll do a quick 5-minute break and then we'll get back to this and whatever this is, and we'll be leading with you. Sound good?
All right.
All
I
right.
can tell you what this is. Trouble.
Yeah, always.
I mean, how much stuff has Sailor Day and I've stolen already?
Yeah, seriously, I've been wondering why do towns even let adventurers inside? We're always trouble.
Right? I've had players burn down entire towns. Multiple times.
Yeah, I might have burnt down a town or two.
I think I'm the only person I know who hasn't intentionally or unintentionally burnt down a building. But I didn't flood a building.
Actually, I should say one of the towns was an accident. It was only supposed to be one building, but things kind of got out of hand.
They didn't have a fire department, that's on them.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to quickly take a plate down. Back.
Quick bio break, by the way.
Okay, that's fine. I was like, I hope I didn't miss anything important.
No, nothing.
You missed these nuts.
Get fucked.
Wow. You're so polite. So mild mannered and sweet.
Hell yeah, brother.
I think it's pretty funny that we're supposed to like protect this guy. And, oh, 2/3 of the party like goes off somewhere else.
Yeah, fuck him.
Hey, he suggested that somebody keep an eye on this guy, so that's what I'm doing.
Watch me pull a hat out of this rabbit.
Oh my god. I'm not sure which office you're gonna pull that out of, but none of them sound good.
It's taxidermy.
Depends on the hat.
Depends on that. And from
8
this
foot. 8 foot top hat.
So Aaron, I'm just eating quickly. I'll be like another 3 minutes.
Go ahead.
Alright, fatty.
Let's use this Lich.
oh, hell.
Oh my god.
for you guys out.
Fuck you.
Ariel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me get this thing started up again. Alright. Welcome back to this. So, when we left off, the group was trying to find where the other ones went, with Ch and Sealaday heading back towards the tavern in search of Henry and Fizzle. But of course, Henry and Fizzle are currently outside of a warehouse. Henry on his hands and knees, with Fizzle on his back, looking into a window with his goggles down. He sees several bugs inside, going from one crate to the next of this fairly packed warehouse, and he's thinking to himself. And Henry at this point whispers up, he goes, "What do you see? What's in there? Do you see the box? It's a small metal box.
There's a lot of boxes in there, and some really big, nasty-looking bugs.
So what do we do?"
Well, my first thought was to combat those wasp bug things by simply setting the place on fire and letting the smoke take care of them, but that's going to draw too
Listen.
much attention. I think we're going to have to play this a bit smarter than that. I want you to go back to the tavern. I'm going to stay here and keep an eye out. You're going to have to describe what this box looked like really well. If anyone comes and gets it, I'll start following them and try to leave a trail or something.
Okay. What if I don't want to go back to the tavern alone? I'll be honest, I'm a little worried at this point. One of our contacts is dead, and now we find more bugs here, and probably the same bugs that killed him.
Well, what if the chest gets taken while we're gone?
Well, we can find it again. I can always cast a spell, or maybe I could cast another sending. One's a bit harder to do than the other, but it might have more immediate effects.
All right, I'll stick with you. I don't like it, but
Well, I don't
orders are orders.
like it either, but we're kind of in a a bug place, so to speak.
Yeah, I honestly can take care of the bugs, but it would be really, really loud. Not
Okay.
exactly the most.
Louder than arson.
Yes, actually.
Love it. I'm always down for a good scoodle.
I'm not exactly the most subtle of people, so let's get some backup.
Okay. With that, he just kind of like stands up, slowly, kind of like giving you a chance to get off of his back.
Oh, yeah, I hop off.
He dusts himself off. So once in a while, I just hear myself through someone's mic, like ear-breaking decibels.
It happened a lot when we used Rhythmbot. Sometimes Rhythmbot would just start blurting out sounds, but I don't know why it just feeds back
He's
now.
freestyling. He's a learning AI, James. Jesus. You're so rude.
Slim Shady.
Alright, so Henry stands up and he goes, "So back to the tavern then."
I don't want to, but it's the best option we have. Or
Okay.
at least the smartest one.
So that you guys head back that way. And oddly enough, it times out almost perfectly as you guys are arriving. You see and Sealaday also heading. And you guys just kind of meet just outside of the doors of the Grazing Meadows Tavern. And Henry,
Okay.
Henry goes, "Oh, we were just looking for you, actually."
Oh, good. We were definitely in places where we should not be.
Oh, great.
Yeah, you at a tower?
Yes, we stole into the window of a keep.
Maybe we
I'm gonna
shouldn't
elbow
be.
him sharply in the ribs when he says we snuck.
Maybe we shouldn't be saying this outside of a tavern in the middle of the day. Serial day.
I'll just look around.
A pretty empty street. You know, there isn't too many people around.
But it's still something you should not say.
Yeah, and Henry just kind of like gestures, like, follow us this way. Fizzle, why don't you catch them up on what you saw as I didn't see into the window?
Out of
Warehouse.
curiosity.
Warehouse. Lots and lots of. My brain wants to say packages. They're not packages. Boxes.
Bugs.
I'm assuming that told you about what I found.
You never told me anything about what you found.
What do you... I told you I went to the contact and he was dead, and I asked where you were, and you said you were at the tower.
You said you were trying to find your contact, but you couldn't. Not that he was dead.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I mentioned he was dead. I was pretty forefront in my mind.
I don't remember this.
He looks towards you, Fizzle. I was like, you heard me say it, didn't you?
I honestly don't even remember. The important thing is the contact's dead. There's something hinky going on in this town.
I'll say there was.
The contact died by what appeared to be a lot of wasp stings, maybe? And guess what's in the warehouse?
I think we should find somewhere a little bit big. I think we should find somewhere a little bit more
Okay,
safe.
so
Talk.
I go in then. The majority
Room
of my
upstairs.
metal, and I'll just cover the rest.
Back to the hopper.
I think we should just go straight to back to the warehouse.
I agree. I need that chest and whatever's in it, and hopefully it's still in it. It's quite important.
There's something big happening in this town. I have information.
There's something big happening in a lot of places, and it's very important that we get to this chest. I don't
Take me to
come...
a place and I will get the box.
I mean, if you think you can, that would be very much appreciated, but it is important. I mean, I don't come to stay with the Freeman because I like moving cities, and I like the oil, and I like you charming people. I have a job. And my job depends on that box.
Are you saying you don't want to join my company?
Not... We'll talk about this later. There's better places for this, Seal, eh?
And we were charged to give him backup,
So
or at
he...
least protect him.
So at this point, he looks towards you, and he goes, "You think you can get in? You don't mind the bugs?"
I do not believe they will be of too much difficulty for me. And if they are, I'll just kick them all.
Well, good, good. I mean, I think it's best we still avoid big, loud, attracting things. Especially if, and he looks towards you, Celia, he says that there's big things afoot in this town. Maybe they're connected, maybe they're not, I don't really know. But at this point, you guys kind of like pass the blacksmith again, and you're very close to the warehouse. That's the one right over there.
And what does your box look like?
It's black with the iron bands around it. It's quite short enough to fit under a bed. It really, you'll recognize it when you see it. It's a little ornate. There's a couple of runes on it. Don't try to open it. That part's important. It's keyed for certain people that know the password, and unfortunately, I can't give you that password. So just bring it to me.
There's doors around the back. We can use those.
Show me these doors.
Yeah, I'll take her around back then.
Alright, so nice, easy little walk. The ground here is, not as nice as it is in like the actual city. You know, it's mostly dirt at this point, and there's some hard-packed paths here and there, but definitely doesn't slow you guys down as you make your way to the outside of this warehouse, and you come to the giant double doors.
I'll hand over my goggles of night and be like, you should probably take a look through the window first, just so you know what you're getting into.
Do I need to attune to those goggles at all?
No, I'm pretty sure you don't. I'll Google it real quick.
Bagoogly.
Bagoogles.
But I'm like 90%.
Bagoogles is my name.
Mr. Bagoogle to you, so.
My phone was just like, you Googled your name?
I'm on internet. Move faster. Jesus.
We'll say for now it doesn't.
No, you don't have to.
Right. So that you pass them the goggles.
I'll give it a peek. I'll see what's in there.
Roll a perception
my-
check.
So that is a 19.
19. So you look in and you see very similar description. There's lots of boxes. There's a couple of wagons here loaded with supplies. Some have tarps over them, some don't. There's probably about 3 carts in here, 2 of which are tarped. And then there's several stacks here and there of boxes, and you can also see all these insects flying around. It seems to be very large wasps. And you can also see they tend to be concentrated on one corner in particular.
Okay, so particularly like that one corner. Good to know.
You said they're large, right?
Yep.
Probably like an inch and a half.
Probably about 2.
Okay. Is there like a how do the doors look? Like, is it like a good tight seal? Is there a small crack?
Definitely not a tight seal. This is just a warehouse that's been thrown up. There's ruts where wagons have come through that like you could probably slip a halfling under or a gnome if you were particularly trying to get in without opening the door.
Okay.
So if I tried hard enough, I could shove a gnome under there.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys don't even know if the doors are locked or not. No one's tried. But my point is, it's not airtight.
How big is the warehouse itself? Like length, width, height? Just give me dimensions.
It's quite large. Probably about 100 square feet.
Okay. And all of the wasps are in one general area, or is it they're scattered a little bit of everywhere and then majorly in one corner?
Roll a perception check.
I ask a lot of questions because technicalities. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Yeah, similar description. They seem to be quite spread out, but there is one corner in particular they're buzzing around, and it's a corner that also has quite a few crates and such stacked in it.
Our side, their opposite side.
Probably the opposite side.
Okay. Without a word, Sealade is going to just start walking over to that side. I want to find a spot that either has a door or a window that has a small crack, something that air can theoretically move through.
Yeah. Do you guys
Bonus
say
if there's a
anything as
window.
you watch like
I'm gonna
Sealade?
grab him. Stop. What are you planning to do?
I'm getting rid of the bugs.
Then you should wait until I'm in position to do that. Communicate with me. And that way, when they are out of the way, I can immediately rush in.
I'm just going to kill them. It's not loud.
And I'm going to go and I'm going to fit my face covering back over my head, taking off the eye patch.
And the goggles?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put the goggles back down over top of the mask afterwards.
Okay.
So, like,
So while you're doing
faceplate-
this, Sealade, you're going back, or are you waiting?
I'm just walking.
Alright, so you continue to walk away as soon as they stop to get their stuff on.
I make sure my clothes are covering me completely?
Alright, can I get stealth checks from all of you? If you're being stealthy. If not,
19 on the die. Plus
I prefer to attempt to be stealthy.
800.
21.
15.
And I have an 8, so that is 27.
okay, so you guys are still actually being quite stealthy. So you're walking over to this, and you will find a window, but I just gotta quickly. Fizzle, what are you doing? You're just standing by watching this go, or?
Actually, I'm going to be with Cyrilidae. How exactly are you going to be killing them?
See, living creatures, they have a small problem. They rely on oxygen too much like myself. I'm a very, very loud person, if you haven't noticed. I'm very full of myself and I talk a lot. And I consume a lot of oxygen. Much like these wasps, they need oxygen to survive. After that brief little explanation, I'm going to cast Stinking Cloud.
Okay, and what's the range and the radius and all of that good stuff?
It's a 20-foot sphere.
Alright, and what do you want to cast it on?
I'm going to cast it on the big group of wasps.
Okay.
So it spreads around corners, heavily obscured.
How do you
and
cast
then
this spell? Just out of curiosity, if you want to add flavor to this, feel free. If not, I understand.
Cyrilidae is going to look a little embarrassed and like, look away. And then he's just going to let out the most gut-wrenching fart.
I just
And
kind of
he's
like
just gonna waft it.
wafted it.
Just like spin with his finger, and it's just gonna zip under the door, like through the window.
Okay. So you hear this odd crack of thunder coming from the side, but it's not quite loud enough to be described as that. But the body, the presence, it could be misconstrued by that. And what are you doing in this moment, as you're putting on this faceplate and sliding these goggles down?
Have you played?
Can I get into the building?
Do you want to try the door now?
Yeah.
Seems to be unlocked, and the door like opens up, and you see this big cloud wafting into a window and over to where these wasps are. What's the save against it?
Constitution. Yes, it's a Constitution saving throw against poison.
Does it do damage?
Technically no, but it spent its turn retching and reeling, and basically it lasts for a minute, so I'm just going to deprive them entirely of oxygen for a minute. That's my hope.
Okay, well you see a bunch of these wasps acting weird. It seems like they've mostly started to land.
Yeah, I'm just going to...
I'm gonna start approaching them, and the ones that are like up nearby me, I'm going to attempt to hit them with my whip.
Did you guys just get the emergency alert?
Yep, you now need COVID passports if you want to go into public spaces. So I hope you have your vaccine things. And I'm going to probably...
Actually, download the app.
Yeah. I'm probably going to apply for a card so I don't need carrying my papers around everywhere.
You can just download an app, and it has it's the Alberta Health.
Can you send it to me on Facebook? Let's just get back to the game.
Yeah.
Talk about it after.
Yeah.
I appreciate it though, but alright, so do me a favor, let's get an attack roll from you as well as a perception and your con saving throw.
Can I just say I'm holding my breath because Warforged?
Does that stinking cloud say anything about immunities if something's not breathing?
Yes. That is why I thought about the wasp.
Then you're good.
I know wasps need to breathe.
Yeah.
And we'll say for now you just you close off your breathing orifices for now. I mean, you're a bioforge, so you still need it, but you can store oxygen for a little bit, we'll say.
Yeah, for at least a minute, I think I should be good.
Yeah, you can probably close off everything for up to we'll say an hour for now.
Okay.
as long as you're not doing anything too strenuous.
Tentatively breaking it.
Well, I mean, they are Warforged, and they've been nice enough to give away some of the benefits to be a Bioforged instead, So it would be kind of rude to be like, no, I know you want to play it, but... So...
Yeah. We're trying to settle on a halfway between a Warforged and a human.
Alright, so... In you go. And I need that attack, and I need that perception.
Me? Oh, no. Yeah.
So, perception is dirty 20. And my attack is another dirty 20 and a 24.
Okay.
Because I have extra attack.
Alright, well, you are indeed clearing these things out of your way as you make your way through here. The wasps, like I said, they're kind of having trouble here. Most of them have gone under the effects of this, and they more or less started to swarm up above, moving away from here. They're just kind of like circling high, trying to get away from this cloud. And you get
I'm
a
just gonna
few
keep moving after them.
out of your way, and you look into these boxes. You actually do find that exact box, but it's open and looks to be empty on the inside.
Is there anything that tells me, like, what was in here? Like, size, shape, what have you?
Roll an investigation check.
17.
17. It looks like there is several compartments to this. It looks like there's a way to store coins on one side. There's a small leather... It looks like it could fit several vials if needed. There's also a small compartment for papers. It looks like it's meant as a dead drop for pretty much whatever people need to leave. And in this case, it's completely empty. But you also see several runes along the outside, as well as a very big one on the top of the chest, as if it was meant to do something if tampered with.
Okay, I'm not gonna bother touching it, because I don't know if, like, maybe the wasps are part of the trap and they'll try to protect it, So I'm just gonna turn to the window that I know is there. Just, like, do a cutting off gesture that, to me, clearly means no. I'm not sure if they'll get it.
Seality, you're the only one that can see this, as no one else has dark vision or is tall enough to see through the window.
I'll just kind of shrug my shoulders and just like...
Right.
And then I'm gonna use my Staff of Bolting to just, like, throw myself across the room and leave.
Right, so you make your way out, and Henry's already there, and he's like, "Where is it? You have the box?"
It was empty. I didn't want to pick it up in case whoever set off the defenses left something else behind. It was open.
Open?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. And
From what I could see, all compartments had been opened as well.
We should leave. We should get out of here as quickly as we can.
Very well then.
So what's up with that box? You seem very, very worried about it.
Roll a persuasion
Should I
check.
ahead and put the ship back and get the vehicle ready?
It probably. I wouldn't get too far ahead though.
22.
22.
Fair enough.
He seems flustered, and you kind of time this at the right time, and he kind of starts talking, but you can see like he's almost regrets his words as soon as he starts talking. He's like, whoever opened that box would also be a wraith. They're the only ones that know how to open these boxes.
Do I know what a wraith is?
Because I know history.
Rolled a 6 plus 2, so probably not.
You recognize it that he's not referring to ghosts, but you're unsure of what a wraith is.
Okay.
I look over at Cyrilidae. Spy,
Well, not just say so.
because Wraith sounds cooler.
I suppose it's not a very effective word, though, is
Huh?
it?
Roll, since you got Wraith
Actually-
before, can you roll, let's just say history with disadvantage. Just to make it extra hard.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. 3 plus 4. Yeah, that's a 7.
Alright, then it's doesn't matter. It's not put into this conversation. So you're just booking to the thing, or what's your plan?
I'm not slowing down for them. I'm moving so I can get there first and start putting things together, putting the ship back, the hopper back together.
Alright, how are you dashing? Are you moving super fast, or?
It's more like I'm not slowing myself down for them because I have 40 movement speed because monk.
Okay, so you'll arrive quite a bit ahead of them then. Can I get a perception check from you?
Yep. That's only an 18.
An 18. Alright, so you arrive, and you're going in, unlocking it and all of that, or what's your plan once you get there?
Putting the parts back together. And just generally beginning to prepare to like set off as soon as they get back.
Okay. So you start working on that, and are you guys making any haste, anything like that, or are you just what's the plan?
I definitely think that we should get back somewhere safe. So I would like to try and speed myself up within reason. I don't want to lose Rabbit, Jack, or Shorty. So
Well, let's just
be
keep
direct.
let's keep a regular pace while we're in town.
And then I'll
To
ask.
avoid suspicion.
Okay.
Then we can book it once we get out of town.
You get inside and you start moving switches, but at this point is when you start to hear the sound of buzzing. And it sounds like it's outside, and it's quite directional, almost as if it's focused behind you.
Me?
You're so yes. You're inside, you've put the ignition coil back, and you're doing some things, and then you hear this sound behind you.
Like inside the ship behind me or outside the ship behind me?
You're unsure unless you want to turn around and take a look.
Okay,
There was a body in the warehouse, right?
There was. Oh, sorry, no.
Oh.
No, not in the warehouse, no. So what are you doing?
Turning around and just channeling my energy into my massive robot fisticuffs.
Alright, so
I cast fist.
you turn around and you can see what seems to be quite a few insects starting to amass close to the bottom of this ramp, and you see within that there seems to be a very solid figure, and he's just kind of slowly walking up the ramp towards you. He kind of holds up his hand as if he's
Reaction blind.
blind.
Yep, with my scimitar.
Okay, what's the range?
You didn't tell me. You just said I can cast light from it, and I can use a reaction 4 times a day to blind.
Okay, we'll probably say it's about 60 feet.
Yeah.
As I believe that is the
You said it would
range
just
of
go
the
off
blind
of
spell.
my, spell save.
Okay. Does an 18 pass?
God damn it! Yes.
Alright, so you watch as he kind of waves towards you, and you pull out your scimitar and you flash this light, and you also kind of squint for just a second. You watch as he kind of vanishes off to the side, the entire swarm moves, and suddenly you just hear the buzzing around again, but you don't see the guy. What do you do?
I'm going to get myself out of being boxed in and yeet myself down the ramp
Alright.
and spin around to face the ship,
Alright, so
the entrance of the ship again.
are you taking a dash action?
Yeah, if I have to.
Alright, so you move as quickly as you can out of here, and you look back, as you like get out in the open. You look back at the ramp, and you see the bugs return again, and this time the figure's at the top of the ramp, and this time you can make out a bit more of his face.
Yeah.
Um, you see almost like a canine face. You see like very sharp little ears. You see a muzzle coming out, and he raises his teeth on one side, and he kind of like shakes his head as if giving you like a no gesture, and you. At this point, you guys have made it out of the city, and they're probably still about 200 feet off, but you can see out of the ship, and you see what seems to be a very thick cloud of bugs at the top of the stairs.
Okay. I'm gonna look over and checking ranges and stuff. I'm gonna look over at Henry. Like, what are those? Those are disgusting.
Henry is looking at you, and he's just like he looks just as confused, just as shocked, and he just like shrugs, and he's like, I don't know. Are you
I'm
guys
dashing.
moving quickly? Alright, so you're dashing as quickly as you can. Sealade?
Yeah, I'll hurry over to try and aid.
Alright. This guy is slowly like has his hands low and down to the side, and he's like walking towards you, and he's walking in a very strange way, one foot just kind of in front of the other, very slowly, and he goes, you know, it's not nice to go digging around in other people's stuff. What's your interest?
I was told that stuff belongs to a friend of mine. And if you have it, I would like it back.
Well, tell you what, I'm going to tell you just once. Whoever you're with, whatever you're looking for, stop it. Just go away. Let the trail end here. And he kind of looks up and he sees your group moving towards you. And he's like,
I don't think I will. And I'm gonna lunge forward to attempt to attack him.
so he uses his reaction, and you watch as he kind of goes, he takes a step back and the bugs move in front of him. And you just kind of swipe through this swarm, and you don't feel it connect with anything solid except for a couple of bugs. And then you watch as the entire swarm goes off to the side, carrying this figure with him. And the last thing you hear as he's like vanishing, he just goes, last chance. And then Fizzle, you arrive at this point, and Chick has moved towards the ramp, slicing through what their scimitar is this figure, and you just hear the same words, last chance.
Can I make a quick arcane check?
Yeah.
I want to know if the I want to see if I can figure out if the bond to the wasps is magical in nature.
Yep, okay.
The bond. No, I'm not gonna say it. It's inappropriate.
Good. I'm on Twitch. Don't get me banned.
Okay, so that's
exactly
an
why I
18.
didn't say what I was thinking about
18.
saying.
19.
You can definitely see that there's something more to these bugs than just them being bugs. They move weirdly, and you swear, even from this distance, that sword should have hit. And yet he seems like he almost went incorporeal as long as he was within his bugs.
Then can I react? Because I have enough range and I wanted to do this, but I needed to make the
What's
arcane
the
check
range?
first. 120 feet.
120 feet? If it's counter spell, it won't work. And you'll be
No.
aware of this. No? Alright,
Yeah.
what did you want to do?
Dispel magic.
Sure, you can give it a shot. What level are you casting it at? I mean, like, technically, like, it's not going to work rules as written. Because
Okay,
this is
if it
coming.
doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's coming from something else. But, like, it is good intel. Right? So you throw your hand towards this and you release the spell, and it kind of, like, wasps over, and you notice it doesn't work. You get the idea that, sure, there's a magical bond, but this spell that he cast, or this reaction he took, was so quickly that it was a very brief thing. It would be very, very difficult to catch, and even if you did, it still might not work in the way you think it would.
Okay, so it's magical in nature, but it's more like a magical bond, not a magical spell.
Yeah. You've heard of similar bonds with rangers and their animal companions.
I didn't want to metagame it, but I can't believe you've done this.
What did he do?
And that is where we will end today's session. So, thank you for
I can't
playing.
believe you've done this.
What did he do?
For any of you watching this, I will catch you on the next
You're a
episode.
bag of ass.
Bye-bye.
Why are you